when a U.S. Army general was handcuffed over a cup of coffee because of how he looked. The officers thought they had power until the truth shattered their careers in ways they never saw coming. What unfolded next sent shockwaves across the entire nation. A simple stop turns into a nightmare. Shelley Harper pulled into a small roadside diner in Georgia, the late afternoon sun bouncing off his Chevrolet Tahoe. 30 years in the Army, 3 decades of discipline, leadership, and sacrifice. And this car, his well-earned reward. He liked the road. No ranks, no formalities, just a man and his thoughts. Dressed casually, black t-shirt, jeans, sneakers, he looked like any other guy stopping for coffee. No uniform, no medals, no insignia, just Shelley. As he locked his door, he spotted an elderly white man struggling near a Ford Taurus. His leather bag had slipped from the passenger seat onto the pavement. Harper, being who he was, picked it up. Sir, you dropped this." The reaction was instant. The old man flinched like Harper had just pulled a weapon instead of a damn bag. His eyes flickered with fear and suspicion before he snatched it from Harper's hands. Thanks," he muttered before scurrying away like he couldn't get inside fast enough. Harper just shook his head. Same story, different day. The coffee shop incident. Minutes later, the diner smelled like grease, burnt coffee, and regret. Faded country music posters covered the walls, and a flickering neon sign hummed over the counter. Harper leaned against the counter, waiting for his coffee. The waitress, Nancy, mid-40s, tired eyes, fake friendly smile, was just about to pour his coffee when she hesitated. Her eyes flicked toward the old man, who was whispering something. Nancy stiffened. When she turned back, her face was too polite, her voice suddenly too sugary. "Something wrong?" Harper asked, low and calm. Nancy jumped slightly, not expecting him to notice. "Oh, no, sir. Just getting your coffee ready." Her hands moved quickly, but her shoulders were stiff with tension. Harper knew that look. Then, sirens. Red and blue lights flashed through the diner windows as a patrol car pulled into the lot. Harper sighed. "You did not just call the cops over a leather bag." He placed his coffee back on the counter and turned toward the door. He already knew how this was going to go. The first encounter. 2 officers stepped out of the squad car. Murphy, stocky, late 40s, the type who had been a cop so long he thought he was the law. Dawson, younger, still had that "should I be doing this" hesitation. Neither looked at the diner. Their eyes were locked on Harper's Tahoe. Harper exhaled slowly. They weren't here for coffee. He stepped outside, keeping his movements calm, deliberate. "Afternoon, officers. Something I can help you with?" Murphy barely acknowledged the greeting. His cold, assessing gaze moved from Harper's face to his car. "This your vehicle? Here we go." "Yes, sir." Murphy folded his arms, nodding toward the Tahoe like it was evidence in a crime scene. "Going to need to see some ID. No reason. No explanation. Just that 'I said so' tone." Harper didn't argue. He'd seen this play out too many times before. Slowly, because a black man moving too fast is a problem, he pulled out his wallet and handed over his license and registration. Murphy took them but didn't look at them right away. Instead, he took a step closer. "Hey, nice ride. How'd you afford it?" "Ah, there it is." Harper kept his face unreadable. "Excuse me?" Murphy gave a slow, knowing smirk. "Car like this ain't exactly cheap." Harper let the silence stretch. "I work." Murphy tilted his head. "Yeah? Doing what? Government job?" Murphy turned to Dawson, who was still running checks in the squad car. "Got anything?" Dawson hesitated. "No, sir, everything's clean." That should have ended it. But Murphy wasn't done. "Step out of the car." Harper's patience was thinning. "For what reason?" Murphy smirked. "Standard check, nothing to worry about." Harper knew the game. Push back. You're resisting. Comply too easily. They push harder. He stayed calm. "Sure." He reached for the door, and Murphy grabbed his wrist. "Slow. Hands where I can see them." Dawson shifted uneasily. Murphy's other hand hovered over his belt. Harper took a breath. "Officer, is this necessary?" Murphy smirked. "Just doing my job." But what he didn't know, Shelley Harper wasn't just any man. Murphy had just made a huge mistake. The game changer. Then, a black Tesla pulled up to the curb. The engine barely made a sound. The door opened and she stepped out. Christina Brooks, federal prosecutor, attorney, a woman who did not tolerate nonsense. She was tall, commanding, the type of woman who could reduce a man to dust with just a look. Murphy barely had time to process before she was standing in front of them. What the hell is going on here? Murphy straightened up, but he didn't let go of Shelley. Ma'am, this is police business. Christina cut him off immediately. No, this is an illegal stop. Murphy blinked. And you are? She pulled out a badge. Assistant U.S. Attorney. Murphy's smirk vanished. Dawson's face paled, and just like that, everything shifted. Justice served within 48 hours, Murphy's career was over. Internal Affairs pulled the body cam footage. Every second of Murphy's aggression, caught in high definition. No spinning it. No excuses. By the next morning, the police chief got involved. By noon, the mayor's office released a statement. By the end of the second day, Murphy was done. No badge, no job, no pension. Dawson wasn't fired, but his career was dead before it even started. And Murphy, at first he tried to save himself. It was a misunderstanding. I was just following protocol. This is cancel culture. But nobody bought it. By the time he tried to apply for a mall cop job, even they turned him down. The man who once threw his weight around with a badge and a smirk, now he was just another name on a resume no one wanted to read. And that's what justice looks like.